Hi Aquarius, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your March 2022 tarot reading. Thanks to those of you who've liked, viewed, shared, subscribed, and donated to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have in front of us, held the cross spread as always, and also pulled 4 agreements, oracle card, and mudra card for you guys. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea of where your focus should be as far as that goes. So let's see what we get with that. Alright, so we have the North Node, and the North Node is actually in Taurus, which you guys is your 4th house of home, your roots, family. We have 7. So for you guys, 7th house is Leo energy, and actually at the time of recording this, we haven't had that Leo full moon yet, but obviously Leo is the opposite sign of partnerships or relationships, so maybe some energies from that full moon are going to carry over into March for you guys. And we have Capricorn. So for you guys, Capricorn is your 12th house. That represents spirituality, blind spots, sometimes mental health as well. And obviously there was plenty going on there as far as the Mercury retrograde that started in your sign went into Capricorn. The Venus retrograde was going on there as well. Pluto's been there for years, so quite a bit of energy going on there. So not too surprising to see that come up. All right, well, we'll keep that all in mind as we go through the main spread. In the main situation position, we have the Hangman. So I usually view this as Pisces energy, and it could just be saying that you're trying to think about some situations from a different perspective, right? Trying to see a different point of view around things. For some of you, this can be around finances. For others of you, it could be more of a spiritual thing as well. But that's what I see with that. All right, in the Challenger obstacle position, we have the Hierophant reversed. So for some of you, this could be around reviewing your beliefs, right? So possibly some beliefs that you might have grown up with. You could be reevaluating, do they still fit for you, right? Maybe, especially with those retrogrades we just talked about that went through your 12th house, that might have been part of what had you reevaluating these things. Not to mention the North Node recently moving into Taurus. That 4th house energy could have you looking back on beliefs from your early upbringing and do they still fit with your life at the current moment. So that's primarily what I'm seeing with that. And again, if this is around finances as well, maybe you're finding that there's some difficulty with following the traditional path, right? So let's say if you have been working in a 9 to 5 type job, recently you might have found like, yeah, I don't know if this is really a good fit for me, right? Things along those lines there. All right, in the foundation position, we have the 7 of Pentacles. So more Taurus energy here, and what this could just be saying is that you could just be reflecting on how long you've held those beliefs, right? And have they been fitting your lives or not? With the 6 Pentacles there and then that 1 to the side, that makes me think of someone who could potentially be looking at, okay, it took me a long time to get to this point. I only have 1 more to show for it now. Do I have the energy it would take to build it up the same way I built up this part, right? Or even comparing yourself to others, like, oh, this person has this much compared to me having this much, right? So it's usually an energy of being a bit self-critical sometimes, but yeah, that's what I'm seeing primarily with that. So yeah, you could just be looking at these beliefs you might have held, realizing that maybe they did serve you at one point, right? But maybe now you're looking at it like, yeah, I don't know if this is necessarily a good fit for me. All right, in the past position, we have the Knight of Cups in reverse. So this is Pisces energy here. And again, this could just be tied to the same thing, or maybe it's a belief system that you might have held for a long time and you've been shedding that recently. For others of you, this could be around possibly a love situation, right? And there could have been declining an offer in that regard, or someone might have declined your offer if you extended it, but that's what I see with that. All right. In the present position, we have the 10 of Wands. So yeah, this is a Sagittarius energy here now, which for you guys is your 11th house, which represents friendship, groups, hopes, and wishes. But yeah, I feel like this is, again, you guys looking back on a situation and almost beating yourself up over it, I feel, because I feel like in a way you do know that, okay, whatever this was, it doesn't fit for your life anymore, right? But at the same time, there could have been that little bit of reluctance to let it go, and now you could almost be self-critical around yourself for holding on to these things for as long as you did. That's primarily how that comes across to me at first glance. Another way this could be coming across, though, is could just be saying that maybe you're coming to the realization that, okay, you know what, yeah, maybe this isn't the right fit for me anymore, but I'm going to see it through, right? So whatever the situation is around, so let's say a job, right? If you're thinking about, oh, this job isn't a good fit for me, but if you had some kind of a project you were working on, you're like, okay, let me wrap up that project before I officially leave it behind. So it could be one of those things there. For the majority of you, I feel like it's something deeper than that, but I did want to give like a more mundane example for context. So hopefully that resonated. All right, in the near future position, we have the devil. So this is Capricorn energy here, and we did see that there as well. So yeah, again, like I said, maybe you feel an obligation to something, right? Especially given that this is 12th house energy for you. So maybe you feel like whatever the situation is, a job, a relationship, family ties, right? You might feel like you're obligated to stick it out, right? To ride it out. But it could just be one of those things where, all right, so a super generic example again, looking at these cards here, right? Because the Hierophant in reverse could represent a relationship, let's say a traditional bond, so let's say a marriage, right? And possibly wanting to leave the marriage behind, but maybe you're like, oh, you know what? That's really frowned upon in my culture, in my family, whatever the case may be. So you could be like, you know what? I'll just ride it out, even though I'm not fulfilled, right? Emotionally, there's no fulfillment. I'll just stick with it because it's what you're supposed to do, right? So kind of going with the moral, quote unquote, outlook in the situation. So it could be one of those things where you're like, okay, you just feel like it's your fate, right? You're like, okay, well, the situation might not be working for me anymore, but I signed up for it, so I'm just going to ride it out. So that's primarily what I'm getting there. For others of you, could just be saying that there's something karmic within a connection too. So I did give like a romantic spin there, but again, career, whatever the case may be, where you're meant to just learn something from the situation, and once that lesson is integrated, then you could actually be released from it. All right. In the position of your influence on the situation, we have the Six of Wands, Leo energy, which is your seventh house, which also came up in the dice. We have the High Priestess, so I often view this as Pisces energy as well. Three of Swords, Libra energy, and Five of Pentacles, Taurus energy. So I can see this playing out a couple different ways. For some of you, this could just be saying that you might actually ultimately decide to leave the situation behind. We gave a few examples of what situation it could be, but whatever that is for you, it looks like for some of you could be choosing to leave that behind, right? And making it seem like, hey, you know what, I'm fine, I'm good with this, it's totally the right thing. And keeping close to your chest that beneath that, you might actually be disappointed that it didn't work out, right? So it's one of those things where you walk out with your head held high, but underneath it all, you wish that things had gone a different way, right? To where, okay, I wish we could have worked the situation out for all parties involved, but it's not really working out that way, right? So you just kind of say, okay, I'm just going to step away, move away, and maybe not show that underneath the surface there is some disappointment around that. Let me see if there's another way this could be coming across. Yeah, that's primarily what I'm getting with that. Another way it could be playing out, though, is if you've already gone through a disappointment as well. It could just be saying one of those things that underneath it all, you know, it might have been for the best. So in that regard, you're keeping yourself composed, but underneath you're still processing the disappointment. All right. In the environment position, we have the Two of Swords, which is Libra energy again, and Six of Swords, Aquarius energy. So naturally, this could be pointing to you guys, right? So saying that maybe you've been giving it a lot of thought because Libra energy for you guys is your ninth house. So it could be, again, similar to what we talked about with the Hangman energy, trying to see things from a different perspective, a higher perspective, right? And trying to think, okay, well, could I restore peace in the situation rather than leaving it behind altogether? So this could just be saying that the energies at play this month have been having you reflect on that in a certain way. If this is someone else in your environment, then in a way they might be in the same boat as you as far as, you know, they might also arrive at the conclusion that maybe it would just be best to move on from that situation. Yeah. So I will say if that's the case, you know, it seems like it's on the up and up. You know, I don't think there's any malicious intent behind any of that, but it could just be one of those things. So again, to give it a generic example, if it's a romantic relationship, let's say, where two parties might realize that they may have outgrown each other in a certain way, and again, because being human and all, right, and especially if there's no animosity around it, there could be the disappointment that that is the reality, but almost coming to that conclusion as well. All right, and the hopes or fears position, we have the 10 of Pentacles, Virgo energy, and the 6 of Pentacles, Taurus energy. So we see the Taurus energy pop up again. Could just be saying that this is a hope of yours, right? To have a stable environment that you can call home, where things are balanced, right? But again, obviously, especially given that we see the Hierophant come up in the challenge position, I feel like that's not currently the reality that you're facing. So there could be some disappointment around that, but it definitely looks like that is the hope, right? Where you're like, okay, I would have liked to have that stability, right? Feeling like everyone's contributing equally and everyone's getting what they want out of the situation, right? As opposed to one side feeling like they're losing out in the situation. So, I mean, definitely pretty positive thoughts to have there. And in the outcome position, we have the World. So this usually represents cycles of completion. I often view this as Capricorn energy to an extent, Saturn energy to an extent, but more than anything, I view this as North Node energy. And of course, as we mentioned, that came up in your dice as well. So yeah, it could just be one of those things where you might be reevaluating what you want to carry on as your belief system, right? Because we talked about fourth house energy, early upbringing, that might have been certain things that were just given to you as you were growing up, and now you could just be reevaluating, okay, what fits for you, what doesn't, and adjusting from there. And whatever this situation is that you might be leaving behind, it looks like ultimately that was the goal, right? So you would learn from the situation. It would represent successful completion, a lesson that you wouldn't necessarily have to learn again. So overall, there's definitely some positives with that. Let me see what else comes to mind with this. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right, and bottom of the deck we have the 7 of Cups. So this is Scorpio energy here. So yeah, that could have been part of it, right? Especially, like I said, you guys have had a ton of energy in your 12th house. A lot of that will actually be moving out of there. So, for example, when March officially starts, I think a little after over a week into the month, so let's say roughly between the 7th to the 10th, I believe, of March, you're going to have Mars and Venus move out of Capricorn and into your sign. So that can help with clarity. Mercury, I believe, is going to be in your sign just through the first week, and then it's going to move into Pisces. But yeah, if there's some situation you haven't necessarily seen clearly, for sure, as we start to progress through March, things should start to be a lot more clear to you. For some of you, again, this can be around finances too, because for you guys, Scorpio represents your 10th house of career and social status. So, like I said, if this was one of those things where like, am I still cut out for this traditional career path that I've set out for myself, or should I be pursuing something different, right? Could just be saying that you might get some clarity around that this month as well. All right, moving on to your 4 agreements card, we have don't take anything personally. It says refuse to eat emotional poison. So let's see what it says. Okay, it says taking things personally makes you prey for predators. They can hook your attention with one little opinion and feed you whatever poison they want. Refuse to eat poison. So definitely a pretty positive message there, especially, like I said, if this is just a belief system, right, where maybe that belief system doesn't fit with you anymore, but whatever that belief system is, you let it really bring you into a phase of self-criticism, right? Like, oh, like I said, I gave a few generic examples of where that could play out, so hopefully that message resonates with you guys. All right, and next we have, from the Wisdom of the Oracle deck, we have Soulmates. There's the artwork, and the number is 41. So we'll see what this has to say. Okay, it says harmonious partnerships, love, friendship, companionship, a relationship, fostering personal growth. The Oracle's message: you are meant to evolve and transform with the companionship of others. Certain people enter into your life in order to take you to the next level of healing, consciousness, and authenticity. It is always a reciprocal experience, although the results for each of you will vary. You know these people by the strong pull drawing you toward them, and sometimes by a strong aversion to them initially too. Soulmates can be friends for life or remain in your life for only a short time. No matter what, you will be changed in ways you can't possibly fathom now. Pay attention to these people today. They are your greatest gifts. So yeah, reading through that definitely makes me think back to some of the stuff we talked about before, where like I said, maybe these people and the situation that you're going through is ultimately meant to help you grow as a person, which we would see with that world card and the outcome. So hopefully that resonated. The relationship message says, consider love in the deepest sense. Love so powerful that you will never be the same, regardless of how long your relationship lasts. Consider friendships and romantic bonds so compelling that they overwhelm you with gratitude or break you open till you finally claim who you're meant to be. Even a companion animal reminds you that it's you who is being rescued and healed. Pay attention, for you are in the presence of a soulmate come to guide you home to the real you. So yeah, again, another message there, and that brings me back to what I was saying, that if this is some kind of a romantic relationship, like I said, it doesn't feel like there'd be animosity between the two of you, more just kind of like a mutual realization that maybe you have outgrown each other at this time, and maybe it would be best to move on. But even with that said, like I said, this seems a little bit deeper than just a single connection type of deal. So if you're looking for more guidance on the romance side of things, I will have the love readings out probably within the next week or so you can keep an eye out for those. All right, the prosperity message says strategic alliances are most important right now as you begin to attract the perfect people to support your dreams. This is a journey you will share with others: mentors, business partners, helpers, employers, creative partners, friends, and strangers will open doors for you and step through the portal to join you in the harmonic dance of collaboration, commitment, and co-creation. This is what you've been waiting for. So yeah, pretty positive message there. Like I said, for the majority of you, it does look like there is something that you would be leaving behind before you get to that point. But we mentioned the cards there definitely do seem to support some growth on your part and success. So hopefully that resonated. And lastly, we have a mudra for you guys. So this is your mudra here. It's the Linga mudra, and the keyword for it is virility. All right. And there's the info on it if you want to pause it or take a screenshot to read what it has to say. But under benefits, it says warms the body, relieves cold and flu symptoms, reduces lethargy and laziness, increases self-confidence and willpower. So if that sounds like a mudra you think would be beneficial for you guys, I will put the name in the description video as always. We'll wrap up there, and we'll see you guys next month. All right, bye.